we live? Of course, we are live. What is going on, people? Welcome back to the channel to what is a final day preview. And I figured, you know what? There is no one better. And right tonight, I'm going to be groveling and begging for a favor from the man himself. But allow me to introduce my guest tonight, my special guest, the one, the only Chace, the face, the hammer. How are you doing, my brother?
JVD, it is great to be back. It's been a long time.
2 years, 2 years, bro, 2 years.
2 years. You took me off for naughty behavior, so hopefully I'll behave myself this time.
No, but good to have you back, my brother. There's no one better to chat to when it comes to West Ham. And obviously, like I said, massive weekend for me, and I'm banking on you. I couldn't rely on the two previous London teams, but I'm hoping you guys will do it for me. So before we get into it, people, you know what to do. Slap a like on the video, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. But yeah, Chase, my bro, let's get straight into it. Before we, some interesting news came out yesterday, and I wanted your opinion on it and what you have made of it this entire season. Wolverhampton Wanderers came out with a massive statement regarding VAR, and it has now caused that the Premier League has to vote whether they want VAR in. What is your stance on VAR this season? I have my own strong opinions about it, but I want to hear yours first, my bro.
Devi, I said I only have an hour. If we speak there, I'll be here until 3 o'clock in the morning. Listen, Dev, if it's not Wolves, it's what? Forest also had a go at the refs recently. And again, I don't follow Forest. I mean, if West Ham play Forest, I'll have a look at Forest. But I was surprised to see Clattenburg was on the payroll at Forest. I had no idea. So even that was a surprise to me. And now Wolves, look, you're only going to have moan when the decisions don't go your way. When decisions go your way, what does the saying go? You sing when you're winning. So when the refs or VAR, when the decisions tend to go your club's way, then you're happy with it, you don't mind. But look, I don't think they'll scrap it. I think it's here to stay. I think the system and I think the people manning the truck, the VAR truck or wherever, I think they need to improve. And again, you need people who understand football. Because if I could just take one instance, I know this isn't the best example, but humor me for a second, Dev. Calvin Phillips. He hasn't had a great time at West Ham so far. But there was I can't remember I think it was against Newcastle. I'm not too sure.
I think it was Newcastle. Yeah.
And what happened was Newcastle were attacking West Ham, and West Ham wanted to get the ball out of the box. So Calvin Phillips, he put his laces through the ball, or should I say wanted to put his laces through the ball. But as he was about to make contact, that sneaky not Craig Gordon, what's his name? That striker Anthony Gordon. As Calvin Phillips wanted to smack that ball, kick that ball, just clear the line, Gordon stuck his foot in the way, and thus resulting in a penalty to Newcastle. So again, if you look at it like
sorry to break your word, was that was right when Calvin Phillips signed for you? That was in the beginning stages, right?
It was a couple of months. I think the incident happened in early April. But I mean, Phillips never got a lot of games. I mean, that's a story for another day. He just completely failed at West Ham. But again, that's an example where the player's intents are not malicious. The player's not trying to make a foul. Heck, Phillips, you could argue, had control of the ball, wanted to clear the ball. But because Gordon stuck his foot in the way, Phillips ended up kicking him because, I mean, you can't pull out that late. And it resulted in a penalty for Newcastle. Now, my argument, Dev, is if a football person or a football savvy person was manning the VAR, would they have given the penalty, or would they have seen the intention? So I think the law, I think the technology, just the tech is there. I think the person manning the truck and making the decisions, they need to that area needs a bit of mending, I think.
100%, I couldn't agree with you more because look, I don't have any problem with the technology, and I mean they've even got the whole semi-automated offside thing coming in as of next season as well. So for me, I'd, like you said, give whoever needs to sit in that truck, get football guys in that truck, give them even some more training, let them only focus on that. Because sometimes, I don't know if you feel this way as well, Chace, but do you feel sometimes that the VAR tries to referee the game themselves, and maybe the referees rely on the VAR also too much?
Well, the referee, the on-field ref, he sees it once. He has one chance to see what happens. and sometimes there's players in the way, sometimes it might be raining or whatever. His view might be obstructed. Now you got the dude in the truck. He has 2,500 different cameras, different angles. And what annoys me, Dev, is they slow it down to almost an unnatural pace. I mean, the game is not played in slow-mo. It's a fast-paced, full-contact sport. And when you slow something down, it can tell a different story. And I think that
Exactly.
sometimes there's a fault in that. I think you should again get the football guys manning it and look at it in real time. With regards to the offside, by all means, automation, whatever can save time. I think that's the way forward. Whatever makes the
True.
game quicker. And I think we can learn something from rugby as well, where you hear everything
100%.
said. I mean, gosh, if you look at the Premier League, they might need to put an age restriction because we can hear some lots of
Exactly.
industrial language.
Through the language. Yeah.
But again, these guys are earning enough money to tame their tongue. So I think that's just an idea. But what do we sitting in Cape Town? What do we know?
Exactly, 100%. No, look, I agree with you tenfold. I always say it's not the tool, there's nothing wrong with the technology. I think everybody else will agree. But like you said, we've come also, like you said, when it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, we've also come under some crazy VAR decisions. So, yeah,
Look,
but look, let's shit. Go ahead.
I'm not going to lie, Dev. There are times where we have cheered VAR and we sung songs
Of
in
course,
support of
no,
VAR.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I
When
mean,
a goal gets cancelled from your opposition, or when you're given a penalty, which you know it's not a penalty, but when it goes your way, it's great. When it doesn't, it's the worst thing ever. It's worse than a Monday morning.
True, 100%. No, look, I was guilty of that when we played Bournemouth. I don't think the Kai Havertz penalty was a penalty. I could even go far back to Garnacho against us on the Emirates as well. Like, it was about a toenail, basically. But look, my man, let's chat West Ham. Bit of an indifferent season given last year. This time you were looking forward to a Conference League conference final. This year, I think personally, you guys have been unlucky with the injuries. Paqueta, losing Paqueta, of course, for a while. But what have you made of your season? Just give me your brief. I mean, look, the season is done basically for you. I thought there were going to be hopes of a Conference League spot. I mean, really, you don't really need that, obviously. And we will touch on David Moyes. But yeah, just give me your summary of it. The floor is yours, my man. Take your time.
All right. Awesome. So, again, as you mentioned, winning a European Cup. Never in my life, Dev, did I ever think West Ham would. The only trophy I've seen us lift was the Championship playoff trophy when we were promoted in 2012. I've never seen West Ham lift.
Was that the Bobby Zamora one? Was that when Bobby Zamora?
Bobby Zamora, Robert Green.
Yeah.
So that was a while back. Wait, was it Bobby Zamora? I think he was gone at that time. No, it was Carlton Cole.
Carlton Cole, yeah.
Carlton Cole, Kevin Nolan.
Bobby scored for QPR. I don't know why I've got it so mixed up.
No, but Zamora was a West Ham player. He is a West Ham boy, so we're very fond of him in the East End. But again, after the European Cup in June last year, the Conference Cup, that was awesome. That was one of the best nights of my life. Second to my wedding night. It was quite a year for me last year. I got married.
Yeah, it was a year. It was a mad year for you, my bro. It was a crazy year. Yeah,
I was ready to check out. It can't get any better than that. So the season started pretty well. I think by Christmas, West Ham were up there, and if you just look back at December, we beat Spurs.
You beat us. You beat us.
We beat Arsenal. Yes.
You beat us on the Emirates.
Yeah, exactly. So we beat Arsenal, we beat Man United, we beat Spurs. This was all in December over the Christmas period. Before that, we beat Chelsea. Yes, Chelsea had an awful start compared to where they're at now, but no one knew they were going to have an awful season when we beat them. So we were putting some of the big boys to bed, and things looked very, very good. However, 2023, the sun set on 2023. We went into the new year, and I don't know what West Ham put in their Christmas pudding at the end of your office party, but results would not go our way. Also, to add insult to injury, AFCON, so we were missing Mohamed Kudus, as well as I think Aguihard, Naif Aguihard from Algeria. No, Morocco. He's Moroccan, yeah.
Moroccan.
So we lost two players there, and the transfer market. We sold, or should I say, we put Saïd Ben Rama, as well as Fornals on loan. They went to Betis and Olympique Lyonnais, I think. And the only player we got back was Calvin Phillips on loan from Man City. So that already, we down 4 players in January. I think we're in the top 6 at this stage. We lost 4 players, and the only player we brought in was Calvin Phillips on loan. Now, Dev, I was thinking, okay, Calvin Phillips, he did a great job at Leeds. He's not playing at Man City, but gosh, Man City have an incredible squad. So I could
Of course.
understand why he wasn't getting game time.
Mm.
And I also thought to myself, he's sitting under Pep Guardiola's learning tree. What could possibly go wrong?
100%.
Well, every game Phillips played, it was a nightmare. I don't mean to like diss the player or give him a hard time, but he was not up to scratch. Heck, I doubt he would even fit into a championship team at this level. His confidence is gone. He's making bad decisions. Again, this player was sitting under Pep Guardiola for 18 months. Why? What is wrong with him? I couldn't understand it. And then in the Premier League, results would just not go our way, and we started losing against teams we should be winning or just drawing. For example, Sheffield United in January 2-2. I mean, that's not good enough. Bournemouth, we should be putting those teams to bed. I could go on forever. Thankfully, what kept me sane, what kept me happy, Dev, was our run in the Europa League. We topped our group. That was pretty cool to see. I think in every European season West Ham had so far, we had 3 back-to-back-to-back. We topped our group each time. So in Europe, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And then we so thankfully, I mean, gosh, you top your group, as you know, you get a bite for the next round because the teams drop from the Champions League. You don't play that round either. So we got a bite, so we managed to work on our squad a bit. But again, other than Europe, there was no smiles coming in. There was no good times. It was just weird, random losses. For example, Dev, against Fulham, we played home and away. Aggregate score was 7-0. We didn't score any goals against Fulham. And they are what? Lower half end of the table. The only team we've done the double over is Wolves and Luton.
Sure.
You see, you should be putting you should be putting your Burnleys to bed. You should be putting those other teams to bed, but we haven't done it. And yes, you might argue, oh, the Thursday, Sunday, but this isn't our first rodeo. This is now our 3rd season in Europe. We should know what to do. We should know how to handle it, and we just fell short each time. So I don't know how we're still in the top half of the table. That's a miracle in itself. But we fell off, given the fact we were 6 at Christmas. This was our best start ever to a Premier League season. For the owners to not reinvest in the squad, to not, again, so results-wise on the field, I don't understand. Then you get to David Moyes. Now, allegedly, he was given a new contract to sign. He never signed that deal. And now, then some people say, oh, it's bad form for West Ham to interview other managers. I believe West Ham interviewed the dude from Sporting Lisbon. Yes, that's it. Amarai, yes. And also Julian Lopetegui. Some people are saying, oh, no, that's bad form to interview while you still have a manager. But remember this. We allegedly gave Moyes a contract to sign. He did not put pen to paper. Now must West Ham be caught with their trousers down and not do their due diligence?
Exactly.
No. So I don't think there's anything wrong with us doing our homework and actually getting a manager in place. Is it the best option? Well, he won the Europa League with Seville. There was that whole controversy before the World Cup where I think he interviewed or he wanted to take the Real Madrid job, and I think he got sacked the day before with Spain of the World Cup. So there's some controversy there. It's a bit tricky. But again, he managed Madrid, albeit half a season. Spanish national team, Madrid, won a trophy with Seville. It's not the worst choices.
Exactly.
I can't say I'm overexcited for J-Lo to come in, but time will tell. I'm sure the Aston Villa fans weren't super excited when Good Evening came along, but what a job he has done at Aston Villa.
Manager of the season for me, bro.
Emery, exactly. So never judge a book before you open the first page. So the jury's open with Lopetegui. We'll see. And now back to Moyes. Yes, phenomenal job winning West Ham a trophy. As we just said earlier, I got married and West Ham won a cup in the same year. And before we were lifting silverware with Moyes, he saved us from relegation and got us into Europe quite a few times as well. So there's no doubt the man knows what he's doing. I believe Moyes, it was the best PR job ever, the best PR job, public relations job for Moyes ever. I mean, after his time at Man United, after his time at Sunderland, after his time at Sociedad, he would have taken any job. But not only did he keep us in the league, he brought us European football. He brought us a cup. And I'm super grateful with David for that. However, we cannot bask in yesterday's glory forever. We need to move on. Again, the start of the season, the first half of the season, up until Christmas, we were doing incredible things. But then we fell off. And I think the results this year This would have warranted any other manager in the league, would have warranted a sacking. But West Ham stuck with him. They did not
That's
sack him.
Moyes, yeah.
They let his contract expire. Again, he didn't sign a new contract. He also didn't sign a new contract. So I don't believe we dealt with Moyes harshly. He was given an opportunity. He didn't sign on. Maybe he wanted to leave, whatever. But West Ham get a lot of criticism saying, oh, you'll never do better than Moyes, or you dealt with Moyes harshly. Look, thank you, David. We appreciate what you've done. But you had an opportunity to sign. You did not. Also, the critical point is Moyes only trusts a handful of players. He only trusts like probably your starting 11, maybe the reserve goalkeeper, and maybe 2 other players. Other than that, you are not going to get a game. For example, Max Cornet. He did great things at Burnley. He was one of Burnley's best players under the Sean Dyche era. Exactly, on the left. Very, very, very dangerous going forward. I can't count on one hand how many times he has started. He's just invisible. He's the invisible man at West Ham. We've got Danny Ings too. He's done great things with Southampton, Aston Villa. He's been around. He's a journeyman, but he knows where the goal is. He is a seasoned campaigner. He hasn't started that often. We have young players from in West Ham is known as the Academy of Football. And I understand you can't the stakes are too high to give kids a run these days. In the past you could, but now the business aspect of things, you can't risk playing children or playing the kids. But still, we'd like to see, maybe bring them on when we're in the lead, when you know you're going to win the game. Moyes would stick to his players, and if you don't like him or if you upset him, too bad for you. This is a case with Said Benrahma, amazing going forward. But Benrahma and Moyes never really saw eye to eye. True. And that's why he found himself on loan or sold, I think, to Olympic for Mayonnaise. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but I'm grateful to rule a line under this. I'm grateful for what Moyes done. He did a great job at the club. Again, seeing West Ham lift a cup, I'm still blown away. It still makes me smile when I think of it. But yes, the squad needed investment. The squad needed players needed to have squad rotation. Give players a chance, and that was never done. So thank you, David. We can say you weren't sacked. We honoured your contract, and yes, against Luton on the weekend, he did almost like it was our last home game for the season, and there was a lot of talk. Oh, how would the fans respond to Moyes? But they gave him a decent send off. They were singing his name. Nice David Moyes, Claret and Blue Army. So they respected him. They waved. Everyone stayed. They waved. They smiled, and we showed him respect. And I wish him all the best because, look here, if we never got Moyes in, if we stuck with Pellegrini or got someone else, we could have risked relegation, and that would have been a disaster. So he did more than a job. He over-delivered, but I think he had to progress in his ways. He was a bit stubborn in his ways, and I think that was his ultimate downfall. But yeah, West Ham can't finish higher than 9th. We can't finish lower than 9th. We are ultimately, so we don't have much to play for against City, and City have all the motivation in the world, it seems.
Exactly, which is actually what Rakim was asking. Yeah, do you think the guys could be putting the boys to bed? When you say the boys to bed, it means City. Being David Moyes, you touched on David Moyes. Do you think you guys still have one more performance in you? Being David Moyes' last game?
Look, we never know. We don't.
You've won at City before, eh? Let me just get that out there.
No, we have. I think Victor Moses scored the goal.
I've seen you win at City before, and I'm wishing upon a star.
No, I'm wishing to. Look, we don't know. But as I touched on now, if you look at the motivation, West Ham can't finish higher or lower than 9th. So now we're looking at personal pride. Maybe Bowen wants to really fight for the England squad. Or maybe some other players also going into the Euros coming up around the corner. Maybe some players really want to get their name into the European team. That's one motivating factor. But then look at Man City's motivation to win the league for a 4th time in a row.
Machine.
If it's unreal, but so yes, anything can happen. But City are next level, and they have the carrot in front of them. They can smell the carrot, and it's in reaching distance. So as much as I'd love to say, Dev, yes, West Ham can do it. Look, City, their riches, their skill. It's going to be an uphill battle. Yes, anything can happen, but it's going to be a tricky one. Look, I wanted Arsenal to win this season, and I think Arsenal have done an incredible job to take it to the final day. I mean, Liverpool have fell off, other teams have fell off, But Arsenal
True.
are still, it's still a possibility. I think if you were playing if any other team, Dev, were playing West Ham, there would be a possibility.
True,
But
but not City. Not City, bro.
yeah, it's a tricky one. So I think if any other team was playing City, they'd have a chance. But I think West Ham, I don't want to say we're on our summer holidays already, but we
Yeah,
can't
but I
finish
think
higher
it
than
might
ninth.
as well. Like,
Look back to what Spurs did to City the other day.
they could have got the draw. That Son Johns don't even get me started, my brother.
Did you see
Oh,
Did you see like some of Spurs passing? They would like cross the ball in front. I'm not a great football by no accounts of the imagination, but the first thing you learn is don't cross the ball across your own goal. Never ever do a
did you see
square
how they
ball.
were playing out from the back, even in
Exactly.
that first?
And they're
Oh,
playing like square balls, like any City player could intercept that and score. So I was like,
exactly.
look, I think West Ham, they're not going to. I don't think, look, there's not as much, and yes, West Ham and Arsenal are both London clubs, but there's not really a, a nasty rivalry. I mean,
Maybe now
compared to
recently due to Declan Rice, though, but I don't.
no, I believe Rice left on great terms. We got a
Mm.
lovely package for him. We got we were reimbursed for Decker, so that's nice. And also, look, West Ham, Spurs, Millwall, Chelsea. Those are the teams we frown
More
upon.
that years
Yes,
than Arsenal. True.
exactly.
More
I tolerate Arsenal, so that's all right. I would love for you guys to win it. My dad's an Arsenal fan. Obviously, the proper West Ham fans want the best for Declan Rice. We don't want to we don't begrudge him anything. I mean, players have left the club on
Oh,
worse
he's a
notes.
cracking player. Yeah,
He's
just
you
sorry to break
guys
your word. I don't know. I will admit, when he came and we signed him for that fee, like you said also, you don't watch Forest regularly. I don't
yes,
regularly watch West Ham.
exactly,
But I knew he was good, but I never knew he was this good.
exactly.
What have you made of his time? I think his game has gone to another level. I don't want to imagine where we would be without him because we missed Partey as well. But what have you made of his time at Arsenal?
No, look, for such a young man, he was our captain, and so that shows leadership skills, and also it matters to Deckers. The amount of times we'd see him arguing and moaning,
He gets
or
it.
he gets it, and there's I think I can't remember who it was against. I think it might have been against Frankfurt in the Europa League semi-final when we got knocked out 2 seasons ago. He was literally, I think he went up to the ref and he said, "How much are they paying you, ref? How much are they paying
I
you?"
saw, yes, that
Like,
was in the dressing room when we were
yes,
walking
yes,
off. Right? That was
in
in
the
the
tunnel,
semi
yes,
final, if I'm not mistaken, Chace.
yes, that's correct, in
That
the
was
tunnel. So
semi.
you can see he was irate. You can see he was, it mattered to him. You saw an injustice, and yes, it's not the way players should behave, but when players do behave like that, you can see it's more than just a paycheck. It's more than just a job. He actually really cares. So he has leadership skills. He's very inspirational, very well spoken. He's a leader among men, and I think any dressing room would love to have him. I believe he will be the next England captain. I think after Odegaard, he will be the
I want
Arsenal
him to
captain
be our
too.
captain. I say he's a
Exactly,
future Arsenal captain, 100%.
100%. He is the Arsenal England captain, and I think 105 million is a discount. You could
It's a
have,
bargain. But look, the thing is, it's similar to Van Dijk. You know, when if you perform, no one even mentions the paycheck, and that is testament to him as well, because
yes,
no one is even mentioning the 105 million that we paid for him. That's how good he's been, and he's up for Premier League Player of the Year as well. So, like I said again, I wasn't familiar with his game, but my lord, I don't want to imagine where we would be
no,
without him. So thank you,
100%.
thank you.
One of my when Declan Rice was still at West Ham, Dev, one of my favorite things he would do is just go on a rampage. He'd get the ball just outside
And
our box,
drive.
and he would rampage forward. Like my wife and I, we were dating at the time. We were engaged at the time. But my wife and I, we would look at each other and say, "Rampage!" And he would just run like a man possessed, and he'd go from box to box. And here's the thing: a lot of people didn't watch Rice under West Ham, or a lot of people don't watch West Ham, especially pundits. And so now they start saying, "Oh, he's added goals to his game," but
He's
I
always
think
had that. For me,
he's
he's
always
always had
had
that.
goals. He always had the freedom of going forward.
Mm,
And so I don't know where these guys, who's feeding the pundits these lines, or it's just a
mm,
buzzword or a lazy journalism. But he's always had that to his game. What I do believe is he's surrounded by, and this isn't, look, I call a spade a spade. I think, yes, West Ham have top players, but now Declan Rice is surrounded by better players at Arsenal. And that's just going to make him shine even brighter. So the sky's the limit with this guy. I don't see, he, as we said, national captain. He should be the club captain. But that's not the only good piece of business I believe Arsenal have done recently. Obviously, Declan and his price tag got all the headlines when he moved to Arsenal. But Kai Havertz, were you expecting him to perform like he did?
No, I'm gonna admit I'm not a fan of the guy. I was up in arms when we signed him. Like honestly, I was up in arms, and I said like Arteta could live or die by the sword in Havertz for signing 65 million because he's in different time that he's had at Chelsea, of course. And I think in the beginning it was more finding a position for him because in the beginning stages, him playing as a left-sided number 8, it didn't work out. But in the false 9, I must admit, the fact that I don't even mention Gabriel Jesus, we don't even miss him, says a lot. And I must admit, I still think we need a striker though. But his numbers that he has put up this year, I think, you know what, I can't say anything bad about Kai. And he's done well in big games for us as well, even over the weekend at Old Trafford as well.
He's delivered. And also another, what I enjoy seeing is Trossard as well. I mean, that Brighton team, gosh, they really had such quality players. You look at McAllister as well. They had Moise Caicedo. Wow. Even Ben White at one stage was there too.
Ben White, really another one who I've criticized as well, but on the right back, one of the best this season for me as well.
And not to quote our favorite pundit, but he also added goals to his game.
So, exactly. He's also added goals, yeah, true.
No, so Arsenal, I think, again,
What do you think we need, though, Chace? What do you think we need to take it to another level? Like, look, last year, yes, we bottled it. We all know that.
Yes.
This year, I know it's very difficult to look back, but like you said, with City, you need to be near perfect. I mean, we've won 14 out of the 16 games played in any other league. One loss isn't as much, but there's small margins in this league.
Yes.
With the juggernaut that we're facing. Like I said, the West Ham game, if Arsenal fans are going to look back, I don't like to bank on favours from Spurs or anything. So I'm not even worried about that. I like to look at what we could have done.
Yes.
And for me, you can't be dropping points home and away to Fulham. With all due respect, you can't be losing to West Ham at home if you want to have ambitions of winning the title. And you can't be losing to Aston Villa. So, and yes, like you said, we are going to take it to the final day and everybody's going to say you've been making progress. But for me, Chace, when we met 2 years ago, the main buzzword was trust the process. Now it's going to be you're making progress. But when does the progress now turn into success? What do you think is now the next? Because for me now, everyone is talking about phases and all of this nonsense and whatever. You know me, I'm very impatient. I believe we should be winning trophies. I'm even feeling like if I must criticize Arteta, for me, I would want him to take those cup competitions more seriously. Like Carabao Cup, FA Cup, just for these players to get a taste of silverware, get over the line. But what do you think we need?
I think what Arsenal needs is for Pep to retire. For real, they are.
Don't give me that guy. Oh.
It's look, it's still the most exciting league to watch. Yes, what Leverkusen did in Germany, breaking Bayern's dominance, but other than that, it's the most. Yes, that's a nice story for the Bundesliga, a nice feel-good story, and it's an incredible feat from Xabi Alonso. But the Premier League is the most exciting. Yes, Girona had a nice spell at the beginning of the season in La Liga, but they couldn't maintain it, they couldn't sustain it. But the Premier League is the most exciting league. Unfortunately, at this time, City are just too good. And yes, Arsenal, a striker. There was talk about Ivan Toney coming in. I believe Ollie Watkins is an Arsenal fan, so that
Ollie
could be
Watkins is an Arsenal fan. Did you see the picture the other night? I don't know if you saw that picture where all the guys.
Everyone was celebrating, and he's just sitting.
He's just sitting. He's a big Arsenal fan. I'll take him.
That's a player who knows where the goal is. You got Solanke too. There are some good forwards in the league that know the Premier League. So yes, maybe it is a striker, but I think it's City are just too good right now. And until Pep moves on, I think we're going to see a very long dominance. Yes, hopefully teams can challenge them and be a challenger club. But gosh, this is unreal now. Not even under Ferguson was United so dominant 4 years in a row. That's never happened before.
Exactly, it's never been done. It's never been done.
Yes,
treble 1 year going into a four-peat.
Exactly, and that was just Arsenal and Man United, and then Chelsea got bought out, and yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, I don't want to give this isn't history. This is football.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, maybe a striker for the Gunners, but until there's change at City, maybe they get smacked by the rule book and they get demoted to the.
I was going to ask
the
you about that.
National
What about
League.
the 115 charges?
Look, if we see justice in our lifetime, I'll be surprised. There is so much that we don't know about that we can only assume. Look, I'd like to think it's legit. I'd like to think that it's a fair game, but when there's money involved, when there's nation states involved, who knows?
True. Nah, fair enough, man. Say no more. I want to ask you as well. I'm going to ask you quick fire questions. First and foremost, your manager of the season.
Wow.
There's a reason why I didn't send you these questions because I know you prepare thoroughly, so I like to catch you off guard.
Okay. I'm gonna say Villa. I always forget his name.
Unai Emery.
Unai Emery. I think Unai Emery did an incredible job. That was something else. I mean, last year we were all singing the praises of what's his face at Newcastle. Eddie Howe. Yes, we're all singing Eddie Howe's praises last season. I see someone popped up here with Arteta. Yes, Arteta. It could be Arteta. I think it's between Emery and Arteta. And it's funny because obviously Emery has an Arsenal, as his Arsenal heritage.
Again, going back to
who saw Aston Villa doing what they've done? I think they qualified for the Champions League. Who saw?
No idea. Everybody was saying similar. It was similar to like Leicester, like not in the sense. Look, we know Leicester went for the league, but always like. I don't know if you remember that time when Leicester were going. Everyone says, no, they're going to fall away sometime. They're going to fall away. That didn't happen. And even now, near the end, in the last couple of games, they started looking a bit gassed, if I could put it that way, running out of gas. Yes. For them to get over the line, magnificent achievement.
Also, Villa had their, well, this is what's interesting now. Last year, everyone was, Eddie Howe doing amazing things at Newcastle. But last season, Newcastle didn't have European football to play.
Exactly.
This year, Aston Villa have been playing in the Conference League, and they made it to the semi-final. They just fell short against Rome, I believe. No, Fiorentina.
They went out to Fiorentina.
Exactly. So, if you compare this season's Newcastle, this season's Aston Villa, which is the surprise package, to last season's surprise package being Newcastle, I think Emery has done a better job than Howe. So. If I had to say the best man, and then you got Arsenal, obviously, who in toe-to-toe with City. They could still, if West Ham do a miracle, if the Lord smiles on West Ham and gives us a draw, they can still swing that way. So it's not mathematically impossible. So it's between Arteta and it's between Emery, I believe.
Look, 10-1, they'll probably give it to Pep if they win the league, which is likely. So,
or they'll give it to Klopp as a nice going-away present.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe even the Bournemouth manager as well. I also think he's done a great job.
Yes, but I think the real MVP. Well, look, Gary O'Neill has done a great job at Wolves, but I think the real MVP is Sean Dyche tracksuit.
That tracksuit. Since he went to the tracksuit, Everton are moving mad.
Exactly. I looked at their form. And I believe obviously Arsenal and Man City have the best form, and then I think also Crystal Palace. Hey?
Palace even under the new manager as well.
So Palace and who did we just say now? Palace and Everton. They are, yes, it's a bit too late. But now they've got the structure in place. If they just build on this next season, yes, I don't want to see these clubs do well. But as I support a club, West Ham, who's just got a new manager now, I'm looking at those guys thinking, heck, maybe we should have been in for them. Why are they kicking now and we have to now start over again from the top with the new man in charge? So I envy those clubs at the lower end. I think they'll have a great future, especially Palace if they hold on to Elise, Eze and Mateta. Goodness.
Oh, those three are firing.
Hey, wow.
Those three are like the football and they are just scoring goals left, right and center.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Now, how would you like Mateta at Arsenal? You need a front man.
If you're gonna ask me, I rank them basically. So my first choice is Alexander Isak, number 1 from Newcastle.
Okay, from Newcastle.
Yeah. So I want him first and foremost. If we can't get him, Ivan Toney, because he's a menace. Ollie Watkins, and then Mateta number 4, just because of the form that he's been on now recently.
Nice.
I would
And
go with that.
Solanke? What about Solanke?
Solanke as well. I like players that are used to the Premier League. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I would take
Yes.
because you know what, Chase, for me, we need something different, like a plan B when plan A doesn't work. Like, yes, you can have your Jesus, your Trossard, your intricate players, but you know, Chase, there are going to be days where you need to lump the ball up there. You need that ball to stick. Somebody that can give you something different. So for me, I have seen us now linked with Benjamin Sesko of Leipzig and Jokeres as well as Sporting Lisbon. You don't know how they're going to perform in the Premier League.
Exactly.
I know it's a cliche, Prem proven, but they're used to the league. They know what to do, and you never know what can happen. I mean, Jamie Vardy was a non-league footballer, and look what he came to come and do. And even kudos to him for bringing Leicester back as well. So
Exactly.
Harry
also,
Kane was there. Go ahead.
100%. And I think West Ham, yes, you don't know buying a foreigner player from a different league. Or I might sound like I'm for Brexit. No, you're buying a player out from a different league. You don't know. It works sometimes, it doesn't other times. I look at West Ham, we got Mohamed Kudus from Ajax, Amsterdam. And this boy can dribble. He's such a phenomenal dribbler. And he's quite strong as well. I think he's not the finished product just yet. I think he tries to take too many touches where he should lay it off or find a man. He wants to take on another man. So, but we've got a friend joining us here.
The Chelsea guy, Tarek. I hope he's going to show his camera so I can see his face. I want to look into his Chelsea soul.
Let's turn it on. Hi, gents. How you doing today?
Welcome, T. How are you, my bro? You good?
I'm good in yourself. Yeah, I came home straight away. I was excited for this. No time to wait.
No worry. They dropped out again. We'll come on to the Chelsea. But you were
no,
saying...
we lost a Chelsea fan. Oh, no.
Yeah, we lost him. But carry on. You were saying, Joyce? You were saying?
Oh, yes. So just basically going on the Premier League tried and tested. It does make sense. And again, as I was touching earlier, this is why we don't see clubs play such younger players, because the risk, the reward is too high. If they flop, it could end up in a result. And league positions are so important. Qualifying for Europe relegation, you can't afford to take a risk on playing a youngster, or maybe playing a player not familiar with the Premier League. So the best thing to do is buy a player who's tried and tested.
Exactly. No, true. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. Like you said, familiarity breeds contempt. So, yeah, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But welcome, Tariq. We're actually touching on how we're looking at next season. Your team obviously coming good at the right time all of a sudden. What have you made of it? Because it's been an indifferent start to your season. But I mean, like recently, Poch has all of a sudden got you guys firing on all cylinders and again picking up an important win last night. What have you made of your season near the end? Let me ask you the second half of the season, because if you look at the first 19 games, yes, Chelsea have been like 10th, and then in the last 18, of course, the only other teams that have done better is the top three. But yeah, give me your brief summary of it, my man.
I do think it's mostly Poch. I think it's him. When we had that game, I think that was a game where we fought over the penalty of who was going to take our penalty, and that really showed us that we had a lot of problems to solve. And I think the moment that we lost Arsenal, the moment we had that issues with our team, I think Cole Palmer stepping up, I think Gallagher stepping up and kind of going, hey, this is the way it should be, this is the way it should run. Poch also backing the players and say, hey, this is the way we believe in the system. And if you believe in the system, it will work. And it showed. It showed that even with Enzo being out, it showed Cucurella coming in, putting in that inverted fullback role, showing that we have depth, showing us that we have depth in that role, and actually giving us consistency and giving Poch the ability to think, hey, what can we do with these players? Is there other places we can put them in? Can we play Cole Palmer and Madueke on both on the right-hand side to kind of free up other places in the midfield? So it's kind of like taking that Tottenham approach of overpowering the midfield and just giving the ball, going and winning the ball back. And I really love Poch and what he's doing for us. So second half of the season, fantastic. First half of the season, all the injuries, Nkuku coming back, a beautiful balloon celebration. I love it. I'm excited for him. I hope for him in the next season, pre-season, he comes in and looks strong. I think he has the ability. He just needs to keep it. That's all.
Fair play. I couldn't agree with you more. Chace, if I had to ask you, out of the teams that have underperformed this year, who would you say is going to be the surprise package next season? Now, I know Liverpool are going through a transition, so I will allow them. I actually feel, and I'm not blowing smoke up Tariq's ass actually here, but I actually feel it's going to be Chelsea if they get a clinical striker, honestly, because I think Action Jackson is a bit raw and they can morse at times. But how do you feel about it?
Awesome.
I think Newcastle's also in there. They had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of
Newcastle had
problems. But I think
injury ridden whole season as well.
whole season, I think Isaac is fantastic. I think he's up there already with goal contributions, the goals he scored for the team. And I think with a fully fit team, Newcastle will definitely be up there. And I don't think they should rule them out. Liverpool, of course, they've had their struggles. Arsenal have also had their drop points here and there that they could have avoided. But it's small things that you can't really control. It's up to the league. Sometimes the referee's on your side, sometimes he's not. It's just the luck of the game. And I think there's a lot of teams. The league looks insanely strong. I don't think there's any weaklings under the top 10, to be honest with you, because I look there, I see United, I see Brighton, I see Newcastle, I see Tottenham, I see even Aston Villa making Champions League football. Would we say that a couple of seasons ago? Probably not. But here we are in a league that is so strong that we're rivaling any league. We have a potential of having 5 teams in the Champions League next year, so why not?
If you had to pick one, who would you say? Are you going to back your boys, T?
For Champions League?
No, for next year's surprise package.
I think Arsenal.
Again, but I mean, look, we already contenders. So if we're going to go one better, we have to win the title.
I think that's the better. I think if Arsenal want to have that package, they need to go for the title. If it's not for the Premier League, then it's the Champions League. But that's the one thing holding you guys back. It's the one thing stopping you from having your success. So this is coming from a Chelsea fan. This is probably coming from a lot of other fans saying that Arsenal is a team to beat at the moment. If you can't beat them, you're gonna drop points. And with Arsenal, if they win next year, I would be insanely happy. As a Chelsea fan, I would say that's something that's an insane accomplishment. I think that's a surprise deal. And I think if Arsenal start the league strong, you guys have nothing to lose. City have a lot to focus on next year. They have a lot of competitions to focus on. Pep doesn't really have a lot to contribute besides changing formations, looking at new ways to implement the game. But I think Arsenal have it. They have the highest goal contributions, the highest scoring contributions. All they need, like you guys said for Chelsea, prolific striker, same thing with Arsenal. If you had someone up front that was there as a target man, how could you go wrong? Honestly.
Thanks. Couldn't agree with you more. Chace, your response to my question?
Right, so I think the original question was who was the surprise package this season, or what was the word exactly?
Look, obviously Villa was surprise package, but out of the underperformers, who do you see coming out of the block?
Underperformers, that was the word, yes. Look, I think, as we all know, Chelsea were probably the biggest underperformers at the start of the season. Given the players on the books, no one expected Chelsea to start the season like they did. And then I think they only started playing decently come like late March, April. And we were just talking before Tariq joined us, we were just talking about their form and what an incredible run of form now. And wow, Carlton Palmer, goodness gracious. I think every player wants him. Everyone has him in their fantasy league team now. He is such a boykie, and exactly. And I actually started warming to Palmer. It was that game against Man City. I don't know if you guys remember this, but City were having a huddle. No, I think it was before. I think it was the first one, first match.
The 4-4 on Stamford Bridge.
It could be, yes. Anyway, City players were having a huddle, and then Palmer, obviously being an ex-City boy, he stuck his head in the huddle, and some of them didn't clock on. Only other them clocked on later. But when I saw Palmer do that, I realized this guy actually has a personality. Because so many of these footballers are like robots. They're so rigid. They don't really show any personality or any character. But when I saw Palmer do that, then that's when I realized this guy has something. And then not long after that, he started scoring again, and just hasn't stopped scoring. So I think Chelsea, they started the season not too great. But as the months have rolled on, as the season has gone longer, Chelsea have gotten stronger. And I think they, underperformed, but next season, I think they'll be a threat. I also think, as we touched on earlier, Palace, if they manage to keep those 3 players up front, I'm expecting big things from Palace. And if Sean Dyche keeps his tracksuit on, heck, who knows what can happen there.
True. Fair play. T, I want to ask you, what have you made of, look, like Chace has said, um, obviously, like the players that you've got, but what have you made of Mykhailo Mudryk? Obviously, Caicedo has taken a while. Look, Cole Palmer has been outstanding, and I must admit, it takes balls from somebody to tell Pep, you know what, you're not gonna give me first team football. I'm leaving, and kudos to him for me. He's young player of the season. But talk to me about Mudryk. What have you made of his time in different time? I know we got a goal. Was it against Forest over the weekend? Yeah, it was Forest. And are you hoping for big things from him next season?
I hope the team looks at him and kind of goes, we need to unleash him. Because there's so much time where I see him on the left-hand side kind of cutting deep. And I see that Poch kind of goes, okay, if he plays deep and he has space to run, he's going to run. He's going to find those runs. But I think it's with him, to be honest with you. Palmer's there, Enzo's there, we have the passes, we have the through balls, we have the people looking up and looking, okay, here's the final ball. But it comes from Mudryk. If he isn't in that space to believe in himself, then he's going to find it very difficult. What I loved, that Cole Palmer's assist, was he believed in himself. He first time took on that ball, touch was beautiful, and puts it into the back. Didn't think. It's those extra moments that makes him doubt himself, that kind of goes, okay, what do I do here? Do I pass? Do I run? And I want him to be clinical. I want him to go, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to shine. It's my time. But there's so much in that team already that kind of takes the starlight away from him. How can you, when you have Noni, who's performing at the moment, you have Cole Palmer, who's the star boy, you have Cucurella, who's just doing masterclasses in the midfield and really saving us when we need to. So when all the light is on other players like Busto, like even Reece James coming back only to get another red card.
But then he only to get the red card, yeah.
So it's so much progression, but then so much issues still to go. So I hope he just believes in himself, and that's all that I want from him.
Fair play, say no more. So if I had to ask you, young player of the year, mine, I'm going Cole Palmer. Chace, who are you going with? Young player?
100% Cole Palmer.
You as well,
Cole Palmer.
Say no more. PFA player of the year, who are we going? This is where it gets interesting. Look, I'm going to go first. Premier League, yeah, Premier League. Do you want the nominees? Should I give you the nominees?
Go for it. Up to you.
Go for it.
I'll give you the nominees. I sent it to my best friend, but so look, hear me out, and I'm not being biased in saying this. My thinking is, I know there's obviously going to be one specific guy which we're going to mention, but hear me out quickly. If you take Declan Rice out of Arsenal's team this season, I don't want to imagine where we would have been without Declan Rice, with Partey being out. And he has transformed us with that, lived up to that price tag. Hence why I'm saying Declan Rice. I know we're going to wax lyrical about Foden, his breakthrough season. But to answer your question, T, the nominees, Foden, Haaland, Isak, Odegaard, Palmer, Rice, Van Dijk, who I can't believe is in there, over Saliba and Gabriel, but that's a story for another day. Ollie Watkins. Who would you go?
The funny thing is, as much as I love Cole, as much as he's my boy, I wouldn't say it's fair if he got both of those awards. As much as he probably deserves it, as much as he's been the star boy, I honestly think, yes, Foden is at his star season, but I think, to be honest with you, if I had to give it to somebody, it's Isak from Newcastle. I think with what he has, he's used, his numbers, and if Newcastle don't put a very heavy price clause on him, he's going to leave and he's going to go to a bigger team and he's going to produce bigger numbers. And I want Newcastle to keep him, produce that young talent, grow him, and I think he's easily top 2 goal scorers next year.
Fair enough.
And that's without penalties, bear in mind.
That's without penalties. There's non-penalty goals as well. Chace, yours, my bro.
Look, every name you mentioned, Dev, you could argue a case for them to win it. That's
true.
We are spoiled to have so many top players. And you didn't even mention Jared Bowen on that list. So I don't know if I should leave now or stay.
He's not on the list, my bro.
Hitting that post 3 times against Chelsea was just I felt for him.
A
Honestly.
hat trick's a hat trick, dude. A hat trick is a hat trick. It all counts. Look, as I say, any name on that list that you could argue a case. I know it's very popular, or a lot of people might say this, but I think Foden has done an incredible job. Watkins also, Palmer, this boy blows my mind away. It's incredible for such a young age too. I love Declan Rice as well, and I think about the best for him. But I think Foden, he's keeping some players out the team too. Yes, Grealish isn't the best he's ever been, and some might argue maybe he should have just stayed at Villa anyway. But something about him, he is incredible, and to shine at such a young age in such a strong team, there's something special about him there. So yes, it might sound like a lazy vote, but I think Foden, yeah, he has my vote. I mean, I would vote for Palmer again, but I voted Palmer a young player, so...
You voted Palmer a young player.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Flop of the season, T.
Ooh, flop of the season.
Yeah, I literally told Chace before, I was clever. I usually send my guests the questions before to give you preparation, but I want to see that stunned look on your face, actually.
Ooh, flops. There hasn't really been much of them this season.
I'll let you think. I can go first. You can think while I talk.
Let him think. Yeah, go ahead, Len. I have one already in my head. It just came out.
Go for it.
Mine
Chace,
is,
go for it.
Cool. Mine is Calvin Phillips.
Okay.
I knew it. I don't know why you were going to say that. Chace, you know what? I don't think when it came to you was that match sharp.
Yes, no.
So you don't think you beat up with Jenny was there on that side of things? Like
we touched on it at the start of the show, Dev. He was sitting under Pep's learning tree. He's training every day. Yes, there's a difference between training and playing a match, but you're a young man. You should still be able to deliver. You're playing for Man City. You're not playing for Edgemead under 17s. No, it's a different story. It's a complete different story.
Sorry.
So you're sitting under Pep's learning tree. You come to West Ham. Why aren't you running the show? I mean, a few years back, him and Declan Rice. Well, a few years back, he was almost keeping Deckers out the England team. Or people were saying, "Oh no, I think Phillips will have the better trajectory than Rice." But no, it's a shame. I think he should have. I feel sorry for the guy. I don't like criticizing players. It's not really cool. I mean, they are pro footballers. They have talent, but considering who he was at Leeds, considering that Man City, the best team in the world, wanted him, bought him, considering was spending every day under Pep Guardiola, why is he no better? He should have really. So to me, that was a flop.
Look, I hear that. Mine is Anthony. I love taking the piss out of Anthony.
that goal though, on the right foot, just I don't know, Anthony.
Nah, Anthony, I love taking the piss out. Did you see when he came on against Arsenal? Now he's a meme all across the world. 90 million for that. I mean, you know what my thing is? When Pepe came and look, Pepe was a flop by us. But why is this guy not getting the same energy? I'll never know. So I'm going Anthony, and that's also good. I hate Manchester United, but that's a story for another day. That's another show on its own. T, your flop?
Speaking of Man U, and I'm not saying this out of just being salty, but for me it's been Mason Mount, now that I think about it. For the hype, for the number 7.
I see what you did there. You're squeezing the Chelsea one in there. I see what you did there. Huh?
Kind of. It's like a double. Yeah, because for me it was you signed him for big money. You took him from a growing Chelsea team. He just won Champions League. He had potential. He had so much for the team. He could have been our captain. He could have been the star man for us, leading that midfield. And for you to kind of think, I'm good. I'm gonna bounce, hop onto United team, take the number 7 from Garnacho, not perform, be injury prone the entire season, and then when you do come on, you don't perform. It was Chelsea laughing at him, saying you get what you get. But I also felt bad for United because you had so much expectations from this boy for only Kobe Mainoo to come into the team and just take your spot. And that's the future of that English team. So to me, That's somebody who just wasted everything that they had, thinking that they could just move and do better without us. And for me, I'm just saying that out of being salty. But to be honest with you, when you look at his numbers since he's come back into the team, what has he produced? No balls into the final third, backyard passes, always passing in between players, no consistency. It just shows me that he's lost that drive that he used to have. He doesn't have that ball winning ability that Gallagher has, that we have with him, where if he loses the ball, he pounces and he's running for 90 minutes a game. But when you see him now, he's walking, and I feel bad. So for me, it's him, or I agree with also Calvin Phillips, just because he never lost a game before he joined West Ham.
Fair enough. I mean, we can't all be Kai Havertz, have our own Waka Waka song, Hey,
Yeah, the
look,
boy is
like
doing
I
well.
said, I hold my hands up. I'm not a fan of the guy. I still am not, but he's proved me wrong and he shut me up. So that humble pie, I'll eat that humble pie. Boys, before we close off, look, I know hindsight is a wonderful thing. Chace, we will have the show before the season starts again, and I will ask you this exact same question. But next year, what is the objective for you for West Ham?
All right. So, as we touched on earlier, David Moyes' exit, J Lo comes in, Julian Lopetegui. I think it's a season of rebuilding. I look at the West Ham team, look at the goals. Areola, he can stay. I look at the entire back line. Maybe Soufal on the right back can stay, and Emerson at the left. But I'll
Sorry to break
think
you, but do you think Paqueta's leaving though?
if you were to ask me this question last season, I would have said, well, because there was rumours that Man City wanted.
There was rumors with the City. Yeah.
Yes, I don't think City are
Do you think
as
come back
interested
in?
in. I don't think City are as interested anymore. I think his biggest fault is his discipline and his showboating. By showboating, I mean his theatrics. Yes, Brazilians, they always have this up their sleeve, but too often he's rolling on the floor, he's chirping the referee, very similar to Guimaraes at Newcastle. The two of them are the same, two sides of the same coin. And to be honest, yes, he's a great player, Paqueta, but I'll actually be all right if we just cash in on him, because it's more of a headache when a player cannot control their temper, when they talk themselves into a booking. They were not booked, but they're complaining now. The referee's getting annoyed, and then the referee gives them a card for consent. You cannot afford that. Why? You get 5 yellow cards, you miss a game, then you let your teammates down. So I think he needs a lot of maturing to go. He needs to mature quite a bit, and I'd actually be okay if we cash in on him, because I don't think it's too healthy for the dressing room having players like that. But again, I think next season is just for West Ham to rebuild. Look at Ogbonna in the centre of defence. He is far too old. His legs are gone. Kurt Zuma, he makes a snail look fast. There's just not enough. There's just not enough pace right now, and they need to really. I mean, I think our third or fourth choice centre back is Konstantinos Mavropanos. And you know him very well, Dev.
Oh, I know. He played for us and scored against us this season, so I know him very well, don't you?
That was the best thing he's done all season. He's just not at Premier League level, and that's just the back line. The club needs a lot of rebuilding, and so I'd be happy with a top 10 next season, with some new faces and a more progressive style of football. Yes, Moyes has very conservative. So if I could just see us playing more open, more take the handbrake off, I'd be happy.
You mentioned the style of football. Do you think that also was part of his undoing, though, Chace? Maybe some Western fans weren't too happy with the style of football.
Yes, it was too defensive at times. And look, I saw West Ham play against Leverkusen in the second leg at the London Stadium. I watched it on TV. I wasn't there, but I watched it on television. But I've never seen West Ham perform like that. So why do they need to be in a semi-final against the best team in Germany on the best form in the world? Why do they need those levels to play football, to start playing so often? They start off so defensively. If they just go for it, like screw the whole counter-attack strategy. Just go for it. When West Ham attack a team, they look dangerous. When they sit back and they hold off and they wait to hit on the counter, that's when they start conceding goals. And more often than not, we're playing on the back foot because you're already now conceding a few goals. And then it's against Chelsea. Gosh, that was an open season.
Sure.
So I think they should just go for it, stop being so defensive. And I guess Dev, there is a valid point where his style was just too conservative. And yes, there are times where you got to park the bus. There are times where you got to be not as attacking, but too often just let the players play, holding them back, and that was his downfall, I believe.
Fair play. T, same question to you. Look, like I said again, I usually do a show before the season starts, and I'll obviously ask you again. But what are your expectations for Chelsea next year? I know you're guaranteed in Europa, and the fact that from 10th to 11th, 12th, wherever you were, to even get Europa League, it's a quite. I think Chelsea deserve their flowers. Really, I made a bet with a friend of mine, who's an Arsenal fan, and he told me £1,000 bet. United are so dog shit, Chelsea end up above them. And I thought, okay, look, Chelsea are what, 10th? You know what? I'm going to take the money, but now I owe him £1,000. So, joke's on me. But what are you hoping for next season right now? Obviously, look, when we have that show, season preview, there will be transfers coming in. So, expectations can change, of course, as time. But right now, right in Europa League next year, for me, I think is done and dusted. You're going to beat Bournemouth on Sunday. What are you hoping for next season?
A quiet transfer window. I hope that Poch kind of looks at the players that he has and kind of goes, we still have Fofana that's been injured the entire season. That's a very good boy from Leicester that we've never given a full season for. We have a lot of young talent. I think Poch takes the squad that he has and kind of lets people off the books. Sterling needs to maybe ship off to Saudi, get a couple of people off that wage. But get people off the wages so that Poch can kind of take a smaller squad that still has depth, that then still play European football and give it a go. Yes, Europa League is our goal, and I think any trophy for us, whether it be FA Cup, whether it be Europa League, anything, I think would be a success for Poch. If we do finish 5th on the weekend, I think that's a success for him. I think he takes the 2-year contract that he's on at the moment, tries to get the best that he can out of the team. When his contract comes to an end, Bowley kind of looks at him and goes, I believe in him. He's produced. He's given me his best. He hasn't promised me gold, but he's given me his best. He was at Tottenham for a very long time. Unsuccessful, I know, but I really hope that he can produce with this team because it's young, it's up and coming. The second half of the season was super exciting. So all I'm really hoping for in the transfer window is maybe a better keeper because of Kepa coming back from Real Madrid now. Petrovic, and also we have Sanchez, and I don't trust really any of them at the moment. Our backline is very shaky at times. The confidence in our keepers isn't there with the ball contributions. Thiago Silva leaving at the end of the season means that we don't have that man that's going to step up for us. Trevor Chalobah is currently our strongest centre back. Tasasi's inconsistent. Darius Benashi is kind of getting there, but I really hope we can take the preseason, look at the squad, go, this is my back 4, this is my midfield, this is my starting 11 for the front up 3, and kind of go, I'm going to attack you guys. Because we have a super attacking footballing team with Cole Palmer. He grabs the ball from deep, brings the ball forward, and all it takes is one pass. So I'm just kind of looking at good football. You don't have to give me 3 trophies, 2 trophies. Give me 1 trophy, whether it be FA Cup, whether it be Europa League, and I kind of smile. I give Arsenal the league, give City the league, give Liverpool the league. You guys fight for it. I would just be happy with anything. Just better than 10th, better than 5th, and hopefully next year, Champions League.
Fair play. Couldn't see that any better myself. Like I said, I tipped Spurs actually to be my surprise package this year, and I think given the way things have went, and they are a bit Spursy, Chace, you would know that. But I mean, look, Ange's first season, 5th spot coming in, and I'd say the same to Poch. I'm tipping Chelsea to be my surprise package for next year. Gents, let's talk Champions League final. Chace, who do you see winning it?
Who's in the final again? I don't watch.
I'm
kidding. I'm kidding. Look, time's coming up. I'm going to keep it short.
Yeah.
I'd love Dortmund to win it, but Madrid in the Champions League, I don't see anything else. I'd love Dortmund to do it, but I don't see anything else but a Madrid win.
Say no more. T, yours? Same?
Would love a Dortmund win because it kind of creates funny things for the bookies because if Dortmund win, Jude has to get a couple of £1 million because of the UEFA thing. If Real Madrid win, Dortmund still get money because of Jude Bellingham. So either way, I think both teams win financially. I think Real Madrid probably win flat out. But if Jadon Sancho can pull off some miracle, I think United have a really tough decision to deal with, and what they're going to do with this star boy that they don't know what to do with. But for me, definitely Real Madrid.
Fair enough. Love, man. Chace, your final thoughts before you gotta jump on, and before we might as well close off the show. Chace, your final thoughts. Love for jumping on, my brother. It's been like
Yes.
2 years since I've seen you, my guy.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I have no final thoughts. What I will say is, tune into SABC3 Espresso tomorrow morning, because you'll see my ugly mug on there talking more football. So
Love. What
Yeah.
time? What time, bro? What time is it?
6:20 tomorrow morning.
We'll be there.
Okay.
We'll
Or
be
just
there.
check,
I'll
or
be
just
there.
catch it on YouTube. Or just catch it on
I'll be
YouTube,
there.
because
Nah,
it's
I'll
very,
be
very,
there.
very
Nah, big up, man. So we'll definitely love for jumping on, Chase. And I hope you guys do me the favor, please. I'll be Chase. If you do me that favor, bro, I owe you a round in the West Ham supporters club. I'll be there.
I'd
First round's
love,
on me.
Dev, I'd love that, but as we touched
Nah,
on, Man
can't.
City is a different beast
Let's be
completely.
realistic.
But anything can happen.
Let's see. T, your final thoughts. You came in late, but don't worry. I'm sure you'll be here next week again. Love for jumping on. Your final
I'll
thoughts,
make
man.
it. I'll make up for it. I'll make up for it next week. Don't worry, I'll be there at the start of the show. Final thoughts. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate the invite. It's been lovely to speak with all of you. Love talking to people that know their football. Ball knowledge is big, and I can't wait to speak to you guys again.
I love, man. Yes, people. So there you go. It's Chase the Hammer. It's T the Blue. It's Davey D, and we are out here. Love for the love. Bless.
See you guys.